Hey guys, and welcome back to the last Autobot. This time it's season 2, and this is actually going to be a much more grounded season 2 than the last one, because I know I was all over the place here. But I will be introducing different elements of the Transformers aspects, but in more of a Bayverse-like way. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, what happened in the first season? Well, Jazz pretty much was able to survive the first movie and made his way to Age of Extinction, where he made his way to a junkyard after being badly damaged by lockdown, where he was found by Rockwell's son, that being Duncan, and his friends Jeff and DJ. Yes, the ones from Total Drama, but a bit differently here. And so they took him to Rockwell, who was actually able to upgrade him and hybridize him with, I guess you could say, like this DNA or element in DNA and stuff combined with his Cybertronian counterparts, making him a bit more techno-organic here. And in doing so, it also gave Jazz the abilities to manipulate both water and electricity. This also combined with the fact that he now has a new beast form and the fact that he's teamed up with the Maximals that he rescued from lockdown does put him in a very different light in the eyes of the world here. And then we have the fact that he had just defeated Unicron by utilizing the last fragment of the Allspark, and pretty much had, with the help of Ben 10, who used Lodestar, trapped Unicron within the Allspark and gave it to him as a show of trust between the two of them. However, not everything went well, as when Jazz actually went back to Rockwell's laboratory to thank him for everything, he found out that the doctor was dead and Duncan was missing. So that's where we pretty much pick up here. Our scene opens up in a laboratory where Jury, Ben, Gwen, and Kevin are all investigating along with Jazz here. Jazz at the moment is a bit heartbroken. His brother, in a way, is pretty much gone, just taken away. And so when Kevin is able to hack into the security footage, he finds something unfortunate. He finds out that Rockwell was gunned down by the Black Dragon leader known as Kano. Now, the Black Dragons in this verse are pretty much a group of mercenaries that have taken advantage of all the Cybertronian tech that was left in Chicago and just kind of utilized it for their own self-worth here. And Kevin begins to explain that to Jazz here. And Jazz is a bit more angered than anything. He sees that Duncan was forced to open the door, that he was forced to basically watch his father die. And yes, while he did try to fight back here, Kano simply beat him and beat him horrendously until they got what they need, that being a vial of element. And he wonders what the heck could they be using that for here. But unfortunately, right now, a lot of things are about to change. For starters, with the Maximals. The Maximals themselves have actually integrated themselves into the Plumbers with the help of Max Tennyson being one to basically vouch for them and ensure that they will be, treated properly, and the fact that the government won't be coming for them here. So the Maximals are actually used to hunt down any Decepticons that are remaining along the planet, with Jazz also being a part of this team as their 5th member and being their tactician. And so one of the few Decepticons they do have to hunt down is a former Constructicon, that being Longhaul. It doesn't take them long to really ambush him, as utilizing Cheetor, he's able to outflank and outmaneuver Longhaul, allowing openings for Rhinox to simply gore him, and Optimus Primal and Air Razor to disable their weapons. Meanwhile, Jazz has been pretty much hunting down any leagues or any traces for the Black Dragons, while the Maximals pretty much just are hunting down any Decepticon they come across, obviously with the help of the Plumbers, who come and confiscate the tech to basically reverse engineer it into future tech to help them out as well. So everything's kind of going smoothly here. However, Jazz is still hunting for Duncan, and it goes by, and it pretty much goes on for days, weeks. He's trying to find some sort of edge or some sort of leverage that he can use to find the Black Dragon. However, every lead he has turns up with almost nothing. So he decides to kind of take a drive around Los Santos here. Keep in mind, Jazz still retains both his, regular Cybertronian characteristics while transforming into a Cybertronian beast as well, a Legiocris in a way. So he's essentially a triple changer, or a what's the word? A quadruple changer, because he has his regular Cybertronian mode, his vehicle form, his beast form, and then his human form. So yeah, he transforms into like 4 different things here. So he decides to take a drive around Los Santos and goes into the more, I'm not gonna say the hood part, but that area where Trevor killed those what is it? I think it was the Hispanic gang or something like that on one of Trevor's rampages. So yeah, one of them is towards an arcade to where Jazz sees a member of the Black Dragons, that being Cobra. Not wanting to get Jury, Kevin, or even Ben involved, he decides to handle himself, using his human form to kind of just blend into the party here. However, this is where he hears Cobra over talking about Duncan, telling him that, or telling his other members, or telling the other just regular gang members that the kids are actually pretty useful with mechanics. Him being able to fix up these drones that they've been able to basically buy out from KSI. And who knows what the kid can do. To which this is where one of the soldiers replies to him, or pretty much asks him, you think the boss is going to spare him when this is all done? To which when Cobra says, nah, he's definitely going to kill the kid when it's over, this is where Jazz decides to spring into action, utilizing a very slick technique here to kind of just disable the Black Dragons without killing them. He kind of just pours water or blasts a low frequency or a low pressurized water on the floor and manipulates it to where it's all under their feet. And then in an instant, he shoots a lightning blast or a thunder from his finger and, well, electrocutes all of them, knocking them out pretty quickly. This has everyone in the bar looking in shock as he walks over and drags Cobra into an alleyway, or the alleyway behind the bar, and proceeds to just beat the crap out of him, asking him for any information that he can. However, Cobra doesn't want to spill, and Jazz proceeds to lay into him fiercely and even tells Cobra that he could kill him. He really wants to. But right now, you know exactly where his human brother is. And so this is where Cobra begins to put 2 and 2 together and comes up with 4. He basically realizes that this is Jazz. This is the one that Duncan's been talking about here. And well, Cobra decides to talk out of fear for his life in the position that he's in here. He says that Kano's at the old KSI warehouse. He owns it now. He's basically the owner of this KSI. To which Jazz says, since when would they let criminal scum like them own anything? To which this is where Cobra interjects, since Optimus Prime killed Joshua Joyce. And Jazz simply thinks for a minute, dang, that is a good point. And so before he leaves, he actually drags Cobra to a pole and pretty much just handcuffs him there, leaving him there. And so without any hesitation, Jazz drives to the warehouse. However, he sees something overhead. It's a jet, a blue colored jet. And he sees a signal on it. It's a Decepticon. And so Jazz doesn't follow it, at least not yet. He kind of hangs back low and sees where it's flying, or just continues driving to see if it follows him here. And then this is where a police car pretty much drives out in front of him and just keeps going. He sees another Decepticon symbol on it, and he's wondering, there's no way. They can't have stooped that low, could they? Maybe they would have. And so this is where Jazz puts a call out to the other Maximals here. Meanwhile, they're chilling at Plumber HQ, just, relaxing or taking a power nap or something, doing whatever they pretty much feel like. And so when the Maximals get this distress signal, Max gives them the okay to go out to this wasteland area to where the warehouse is, considering the sheer fact that it will be, far away from humans, and they won't have to deal with any, human casualties on their part. So the Maximals pretty much just go there. Meanwhile, as Jazz drives, more and more cars begin to appear. And he sees 2 cars that feel familiar, and this causes him to drive back slower even more. This being a Ferrari and a Corvette. And while Jazz wants to reach out and see if it's Mirage and Sideswipe, he keeps his cool. He keeps himself camouflaged. And so when the cars turn into the direction that Jazz was originally about to go, Jazz simply drives forward. Again, maintaining that, regular car at the moment type of deal here. However, before he can really enact his plan, this is where he gets a call from Jury. And as if the timing wasn't bad enough, Jazz does have to revert into his human form in order to pretty much just look a bit more camouflaged at the around the area. To which he pretty much just it's basically a casual conversation where she asks how he's doing and is he going to be home later tonight. To which Jazz says, yeah, he'll be home soon, but he's also picked up a lead on Duncan and hoping that maybe, just maybe, he can get him back. And Jury says, well, just be careful. I'll make sure Ben and the others know. To which they both say, I love you, and well, both hang up at the same time. Lovely, healthy, yet somehow very intellectual relationship between these two. I know, it's very interesting, isn't it? But without further ado, let's commence the mission. Jazz pretty much sneaks into the warehouse area through a crack. Sorry, not a crack. Through an opening in the roof here. And he pretty much hangs on top of the ceiling, utilizing his beast form's claws as if he was just like, Spider-Man in a way. And he begins to maneuver around slowly, making sure he doesn't even, skid any rust off of the scaffolding of the areas around him here, or above the beams. That's what I'm talking about, the beams on the ceiling here. And so when he looks around, he sees people working. And this is where he pretty much spots him. It's Duncan. However, he's fitted with a shock collar around him. And unfortunately, he looks tired, drained even, as if he's had really no rest and no working. And near him is Serena. Now, if you guys don't know who Serena is, she is in most continuities of Mortal Kombat, she is a member of the Black Dragons, but then there's also those versions where she's just a demon. So in this one, she is a Black Dragon member, so which is just for clarification. So how does this really much go? Well, Jazz continues looking around the facility and tries to find a decent way for him to get out Duncan without going in guns blazing. This is where he gets a communication from the Maximals, who are basically getting ready to storm the facility. However, Jazz tells him to hold off as he's still investigating the whereabouts and stuff of the facility. And yes, he has found Duncan, but he needs to investigate this further. To which Primal, agreeing with his tactician here, decides to hold out and wait from a safer distance. So the Maximals are pretty much just ready and gearing to go and make sure they aren't spotted. This is where Jazz moves into another part of the facility, actually, taking out a guard and just dragging him into a corner to where he can't be spotted anytime soon. And this is where he sees something horrifying. It's Mirage and Sideswipe. They're both laid out on tables, both just simply mindless and shells of their former selves here. And this is where he actually sees the commander of the operations, that being Kano and the Decepticon, Thundercracker. To which Thundercracker states that finding these two Autobots in the experimentation lab was far too fruitful than anything. And to think they were so easy to capture with them being shut down offline and nearly sparkless. To which Jazz begins to feel a surge of anger, but right now he knows that he's putting Duncan in danger if he stays here, but he vows to come back for Sideswipe and Mirage. So he actually does something very interesting. He tells Primal on his signal, storm it, or cause a distraction loud enough, or at least violent enough, for him to get his brother out. And so Optimus Primal tells the Maximals to maximize and get ready. And so on Jazz's signal, he gives them a 3, a 2, and a 1. And without any hesitation, the Maximals unleash pandemonium on this facility, causing the Decepticons and the Black Dragons, who are actually utilizing Cybertronian technology, to try and bombard the Maximals. However, due to the sheer fact that this is a well-coordinated ambush, the Maximals are able to not only avoid taking any damage from the Decepticons, but steamroll through these humans, and again, they are allowed to kill them. So there is no holding back here. So when Air Razor wants to pop off and use her fire breath, everything gets crispy. Meanwhile, Kano tries to make his way towards Jazz here, but Jazz has already made his way to Duncan and actually disables the shot caller and hugs his brother, telling him that he missed him, but he does stink. To which Jazz says, well, I haven't really been able to take a shower when just working nonstop, with only thing giving me a break here is a bathroom break. To which Jazz says, okay, fair enough here. And this is where when Kano tries to shoot him in the back, Jazz actually puts up a water bubble around them to actually block the assault, and then hits Kano with a full force, the equivalent to a hydro pump, sending him through the building itself here. And so Jazz takes the opportunity to transform into his car mode and simply just gets Duncan out of there, and tells the Maximals that they can either finish this now or they can get out of here and regroup for more later. However, this is where Kano recovers and presses a button, and this activates every single KSI drone that they have. Seeing that they're outnumbered and that they are going to get, steamrolled if they're not careful, yet the Maximals decide to take this opportunity and retreat alongside Jazz. This is where we will fast forward, I would definitely say an hour later, where we see Jury, Kevin, Gwen, and Ben all at the plumber's base, along with the Maximals, where Jazz is pretty much looking over Duncan as he receives medical attention here. He's malnourished, with him barely being able to get a decent meal here, so Duncan does need to eat up, he needs some good food here. I would kind of say this is like the Lex Luthor situation from Superman, the animated series, where Luthor just had nothing but like candy bars for like God knows how long. And this is honestly kind of in a similar situation, except he's barely being fed anything except probably like energy-based products to make sure he kept working. And so Duncan finally is able to not only get medical attention, but to take a break, with Jazz and Jury pretty much standing side by side, holding hands, or she's basically, touching him comfortably, to where they feel, or Jazz feels a bit proud of it here. And he even allows Courtney, Duncan's girlfriend here, to actually come and see him along with Jeff and DJ. To pretty much everyone feels happy. However, there are still some situations they have to go over, that being Rockwell's death. And this is where Duncan actually realizes something. He has his father's inheritance. Rockwell in this timeline, or this continuity here, or this, verse here, is a multi-millionaire. All right. And I mean millionaire. I mean like, dude's rich. Like filthy stinking rich. Like, how Michael DeSanta was like the rich one? Yeah, he's Michael DeSanta times 100. That's what I'm trying to say here. He's filthy stinking rich. And so this is where Duncan has to go through court proceedings to make sure that all of Rockwell's assets are his. However, Duncan makes a very big move and gives the assets to Jazz, while Duncan just wants a decent part of his, inheritance, so that he can actually do his own thing. And Jazz is a bit taken aback, but again, Duncan admits that you never gave up on him when it counted and when it mattered the most. Even despite his history, you still were there for him, or he was still there for him. And so Duncan thinks that Rockwell's more scientific half would benefit Jazz rather than it benefiting him. And this is where, going through some of the human legal, applications or processes and stuff like that there, yeah, Jazz does get a decent amount of Rocco's assets. He gets his laboratory, albeit that is damaged, but he does get his scientific data and stuff like that there, where he also gives some of this to the plumbers and, more importantly, to Gwen. He also gives some of the more technological stuff to Kevin to see what he can pretty much do with it. As for Ben, yeah, he's fine. He doesn't really need anything here. I mean, he can still come around and help out whenever he needs to. But again, Ben's pretty chill about it. He's like, yeah, I don't really need nothing from here. But again, maybe some more alien DNA would not be bad, I guess, or whatever. And so, in all honesty, I think everything does go smoothly here. However, this is where we pick up with the Black Dragons driving further out into the wasteland areas of Los Santos. And this is where Thundercracker pretty much states, do you think your client will be abiding to us joining him? Or pretty much, find their failure very, I guess you could say, detrimental here? To which Kano says, no, not at all. He'll actually love what we had to say and love what we had to offer. And so when they drive off further into the desert, they make their way to this facility, right? This mega ultra facility just on the outskirts of the desert of Los Santos here. And so this is where they meet someone that Thundercracker hasn't seen in years. And this would be none other than the Decepticons' new leader, that being Tarn. And that's where I'm going to leave it off here, you guys. Please comment down below, like, and subscribe, and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. And let me know what you guys think of this first part, this first episode of the last Autobot Season 2. Peace.